neighbor. Welcome again to this neighborhood. I'd like to show you something. You know what this is? Well, maybe if I press this button. This is a cassette player with a little cassette in here, and there's nothing written on it, so we'll just have to play it to see what it is. Do you ever imagine things? Are they scary things? Are they scary things? Do you ever imagine things? Things you'd like to have? Did you ever see a cat's eyes in the dark and wonder what they were? Did you ever pretend about things like that before? Did you ever pretend about things like that? Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? In the garden of your mind. You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. In the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think and they'll grow. Imagine every person that you see is somewhat different from every other person in the world. Some can do some things, some can do others. Did you ever think of the many things you've learned to do? Many things you've Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. In the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think and they'll grow. Did you feel like going like that? Let's give the fish some food. Mr. McFeely, I didn't order any whistles. That's what they call a slide whistle, friends. Did you feel like going like that? There are so many things to learn about in this world. And so many people who can help us learn. Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? In the garden of your mind. You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. In the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think, and they'll grow.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our prelude this morning.
Look, on the lily pad, a leprechaun. Catch him.
And sometimes the videos keep going, you know?
They always catch me, cause I'm as green as the clover hat.
We can't always control that technology when it runs away with us. But we are glad that you are with us this morning for this service about imagination and where it can take us. That was a creative remix of at least what for me is a very familiar and comforting figure, Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And maybe for you too, Mr. Rogers is a comforting figure. And perhaps you are looking for some comfort today. It's been quite a week, this first full week of 2021. And I imagine many of us were hoping that it would be a little bit of a calmer time. We knew that COVID was getting worse and worse. And we knew that we were still not to the point with a new administration, but we did not imagine, I think, the level of violence and fascism that we would see on display this week. But like every Sunday, here we are, gathering in the best way we know how to find comfort and to make meaning and to see what world we can imagine and bring into being. moving forward in the only way we can, by grieving what is hard and facing what is difficult, holding on to one another, and recommitting ourselves again to creating the world that we want to be living in. And so this morning, whatever you are feeling and whatever you are bringing to this space, it is welcome. And I hope you are able to find some of that comfort, connection, and inspiration with us. And so, with that, we will be opening with our Unison Affirmation, the words that we share together each Sunday. And I invite you to rise if that feels right to you, and to join in speaking these words on mute with me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. This morning, we are beginning with a story about imagining your way into dignity and power despite the many injustices stacked against you, and a story of the way children can imagine themselves into magic. Please enjoy Tar Beach by Faith Ringgold.
The most
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Sankofa Read Aloud. Today's story is titled Tar Beach, written by Faith Ringgold. I hope that you enjoyed this beautiful story. I will always remember when the stars fell down around me and lifted me up above the George Washington Bridge. I could see our tiny rooftop with Mommy and Daddy and Mr. and Mrs. Honey, our next door neighbors, still playing cards as if nothing was going on. And BB, my baby brother, lying real still on the mattress, just like I told him to, his eyes like huge floodlights tracking me through the sky. Sleeping on Tar Beach was magical. Lying on the roof in the night with stars and skyscraper buildings all around me made me feel rich, like I owned all that I could see. The bridge was my most prized possession. Daddy said that the George Washington Bridge is the longest and most beautiful bridge in the world, and that it opened in 1931 on the very day I was born. Daddy worked on that bridge, hoisting cables. Since then, I've wanted that bridge to be mine. Now, I have claimed it. All I have to do was fly over it for it to be mine forever. I can wear it like a giant diamond necklace, or just fly above it and marvel at its sparkling beauty. I can fly, yes, fly. Cassie Louise Lightfoot, only 8 years old and in the 3rd grade, and I can fly. That means I am free to go wherever I want for the rest of my life. Daddy took me to see the new Union building he is working on. He can walk on steel girders high up in the sky and not fall. They call him the cat. But still, he can't join the union because Grandpa wasn't a member. Well, Daddy is going to own that building because I'm going to fly over it and give it to him. Then it won't matter that he's not in their old union or whether he's colored or half-breed Indian, like they say. He'll be rich and won't have to stand on 24-story high girders and look down. He can look at his building going up. And Mommy won't cry all winter when he goes to look for work and doesn't come home. And Mommy can laugh and sleep late like Mrs. Honey. And we can have ice cream every night for dessert. Next, I'm going to fly over the ice cream factory just to make sure we do. Tonight, We're going to go up to Tar Beach. Mommy is roasting peanuts and frying chicken, and Daddy will bring home a watermelon. Mr. and Mrs. Honey will bring their beer and their old green card table. And then the stars will fall around me, and I will fly to the Union Building. I'll take BB with me. He has threatened to tell Mommy and Daddy if I leave him behind. I have told him it's very easy. Anyone can fly. All you need is somewhere to go that you can't get to any other way. The next thing you know, you're flying among the stars.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's a story that also is familiar to me. I grew up reading that book when I was a kid. And as a kid, I always wanted to be able to fly. Before we move into imagining our own magical powers and what we would do with them, I wanted to go back in time a moment, which is the magical power I would pick, because I forgot to do our announcements. And maybe you too are finding that you're a bit discombobulated this week. Because there are a couple announcements, and especially one I wanted to make sure to highlight because it is happening this afternoon. This afternoon, as I hope you know, we are having a Lyceum presentation from our own Bob Dowd, who will be speaking about forgery and mystery, scandal and notorious deeds. And so if you're looking for something interesting and fun to connect with this afternoon, I would strongly encourage you to attend our Lyceum. It's at 4 p.m. and you can find the information on the announcements list or in the parishioner on our website. And you can also be keeping an eye out for a couple other events that will be coming up down the way. We will be having a time to commemorate the lives that this community has lost to COVID on Tuesday the 19th at 5 p.m. on the Common. And later on in January, there are also going to be some opportunities to discuss climate change through book discussions of Naomi Klein's book On Fire, The Burning Case for a Green New Deal. And those will be on January 24th and 26th. So please keep an eye out for those important dates as well. We know that we have much to imagine about the future that we need for this planet. So thank you, Mark, for taking us back through the slides so that I could do that portion. And now back to our magical powers. So in our story, Cassie Lightfoot says, it's easy to fly. All you need is some place you can't get to any other way. And I think there are a lot of places that many of us need and long to go right now. Perhaps a lot of impossible things that we want so much. And so we are going to have an opportunity to do a little imagining and a little sharing of what we imagine together. And so the question I have for you is, if you could have a magic power, what would it be and what would you do with it? And you could be as creative or as simple as you like with that question. I understand it seems that there are some challenges with some of our Zoom view today, and I apologize. I'm not sure why that is true today, but sometimes things are a little unideal. So the way we're going to try to answer this question together is through, there's a link that I put into the chat. And if you are able to click on it, then you should be able to find a screen, and it's called a Padlet. And on that screen, you should be able to add an answer to this question. And so Mark, I think, is going to share that screen so we can see as people add answers. And of course, as always, you are also welcome to just type directly into the chat. That is also a fine way to participate. it's not working, I hear. Oh, it's always an adventure, you know? Well, let's see. Let's see if we can get a better link in that case. Well, I'm seeing someone's writing, so that's a good sign. You can get to the screen but cannot enter anything. To enter something, you should either double click or add in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little plus sign. And if you click it, it should give you the ability to add an answer to the question. So I see that some answers are appearing. And so I encourage you to think about what power you would have and what you would do and add it either in the chat or on our Padlet. So one person would have perfect writing and punctuation. Well, that would be useful. Now we have someone who would fly. Ooh, play guitar. Ooh, have the power to use any power. That's very creative, Nora. I like how you did that. Understand others' motives and intents, kind of like a mind reading. Ooh, sing gloriously. What a wonderful power. Speed reading, very practical. Wave my arms and be anywhere else on the planet instantaneously. That would be fantastic. End world hunger. That would be a very powerful superpower. Ability to make others kind. That's a lovely thought. I like that one a lot. To heal people's trauma. That would be magical. Back in time to do a birthday celebration with family and friends, indeed. Well, thank you for participating in some imagining, and you can continue to add to the Padlet. You should be able to move your answers around and you should be able to still access it. And so if you come up with something throughout the service, you're very welcome to add it in, and we can have a collection of our magical powers and our missions together. And I also see end the pandemic. Indeed, I think many of us would love to have that superpower and be able to clearly see what is behind another person's anger. That would be very, very effective power indeed. Well, thank you. Thank you for imagining and for sharing. And now we are going to move into another kind of creativity and another kind of imagination exercise that Deb is going to lead us through.
Thanks, Annie. So imagination is something that can involve our minds, and it can also involve our hands and our body. Susan Van Dresser wrote, "Let us sing the magic of imagination by which we know one another and learn the lives of eras gone by. Let us sing the magic of creation by which we build the world of our soul and teach its wisdom to others, young and old. Let us sing the magic of our lives together, holding and shaping by the movement of breath from heart to lung, all new life that is to come." As we think about imagination, what is it that means sacred space to us? Right now, in this time, we surely do need sacred space. We need a place where we can go, even if it's only in our minds, that is peace, that is comfort, that will help us to get from this point into the next with some sense of calm or sustenance or inspiration. And so I want to invite you to think about what it would mean for you to create a little bit of sacred space. It may not be a separate room, it may be a place on a table, and it may involve one object or more. I will tell you that for me, when I need sacred space, I can go there in my mind because I think about going to Star Island, the place that I have gone since I was a baby. And I can put myself in my mind on the rocks. I can hear the ocean. But I also can create sacred space here in my own home with elements that are important to me, like this piece of petrified wood that I picked up while walking in Utah, this cup that I got in Greece that tells the stories on it of mythology and the heroes and heroines of long ago. So the question for you is, if you were to create a bit of sacred space now, what would that be? And we want to invite you to do that now and in the next few minutes, and to take a photo of it. Hopefully you have a handheld device that you can use to take a picture, and to send it to me at dre@uubedford.org. And I bet Annie will type that in the chat for me while I'm talking. And if you can send me those photos during the service, we're going to collect them and you'll be able to see them at the end of the service. So again, create a sacred space right here, right now, with something or some things that are important to you, and share that image by email, and we will show it back to the congregation and share it at the end of the service. And while you're doing that, just to spur your imagination a little bit more, we hope that you enjoy such a wonderful song, Pure Imagination, from the film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So enjoy. Mark, we're not getting any sound on that. Thanks. There we go.
Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing to it.
Hurry up, Violet.
This way, Grandpa.
is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Writing's not that easy, but
Good morning, everyone, and as ever, it is good to be together. You probably have figured this out, but our theme this morning is imagination. Repetition doesn't hurt. Just by the way, imagination is pretty much our theme every Sunday, because really the whole point of church is to fire our imaginations so that we just might have some hopeful glimpse of where we're going in life. Few of you might remember, Annie, you will not be among those who remember this. It's always good to have a foil. Some of you will remember that the great torch singer Peggy Lee, I told you, Annie, you've had no idea who Peggy Lee is. Peggy Lee asked the question, is that all there is? And if that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. And we are here, this church is here to say that there is more to our living than the dull thud of the way things are at this present moment. There's more to our lives than a dull thud. Life is worth nothing without imagination. Now, I know that this week we have been subjected to sights that some of us might previously have called unimaginable. Storming the Capitol, unimaginable. Others, myself included, are not altogether surprised. I'll speak to this more next week, but for today, we want to free up our imaginations such that we can imagine better, more life-giving, more hopeful, more life is still worth living scenarios. It is important for this church from time to time to remind us of the dull thud of reality that we might prefer not to notice. But it is also important for this church to remind us that this is not all there is, and that another world is possible. Among my favorite stories of human imagination, the idea that led to the sewing machine needle, you know, a needle with a hole in it that thread can pass through. This idea of the sewing machine needle came to Elias Howe in the 1800s while he was sleeping in a dream. Do you remember that it was only after going for a walk with his dog and noticing seeds attaching to his dog's fur that Georges Mistral invented Velcro in 1941? It helps to go for a walk in the woods with your dog. In 1953, James Watson imagined the shape and the structure of DNA when one night he dreamt of two intertwining serpents. In 1968, 3M engineer Spencer Silver was working on adhesives which didn't really stick and work. And then when bored in church, he used his not very sticky adhesive to keep his place in a church hymnal. He was in the choir, and he inadvertently invented Post-it notes. Being bored in church just might make you rich. And finally, there is the story of the man who was condemned to die by the emperor. I don't know what he had done to deserve this punishment, but the emperor said, in 30 days, you're going to die. But the condemned man bargained with the emperor, and he said, how about it? How about it? Will you let me live if in 30 days I can teach you to fly? And the emperor said, well, okay, you got 30 days. The friends of the condemned man said, you are crazy. You can't teach the emperor to fly. You are a dead man walking. But the condemned man said, well, maybe you're right. In 30 days, I may die. But you know, in 30 days, the emperor might die. And well, who knows? In 30 days, I just might maybe teach that emperor to fly. Now, about flying and Tar Beach, I gotta tell you, when I was a child, and still now, every once in a rare while, I really am pretty convinced that under the right circumstances, I know I can fly. Let's not test this off the roof or whatever today. But when the circumstances are right, I'm telling you, I can fly. And I am quite sure that you can too. That's what I got to say. Back to you, Annie.
Thank you, John. I'm quite sure that we can, in fact. So we have now our time this morning to share the joys and sorrows on our hearts, and Susan Lincoln from our lay pastoral care team will introduce this time.
Good morning. Okay, sorry. Hi, I'm Susan Lincoln, as Annie introduced me, of the lay pastoral care team. And at this point, we'd like to invite you to share your joys and concerns with the congregation. And you can do that by finding your raised hand on your screen. Click on that and you will be unmuted. Thank you. Appreciate everybody's joys and concerns. And I'm going to light this candle to honor all those that we're sitting with quietly. Thank you.
So it is my pleasure to introduce our offering today. And yesterday I was reading something in the paper about estate planning, and it seemed like it might have relevance to us. The suggestion was that in estate planning, of course, we want to take care of our own families, our own children, but we may also wish to recall purposes that are larger than our own children, our own families, our own immediate circumstances. And estate planning is an opportunity to consider purposes larger than ourselves. And the particular suggestion in this article was that we might make provision for, let's say, our children, of course, but then we might designate other purposes as another one of our children. We might include in our calculations our own families, but then purposes larger than ourselves. I thought that idea of thinking about another child, another pathway into the future, is something that is relevant for all of us, not only, of course, in estate planning, but simply in the ways we live our lives. And, you know, that's what an offering is all about. It's not just here's a chance to throw your $2 or $3 bill into the offering bag, but it is an opportunity to imagine a future that is worth living for us all. And so, you know what I'm saying next. Freely we have received, freely give. For the work of this congregation, far, far beyond these walls, our offering will now gratefully be received.
עוד נשובה אל ניגונתי, והזמר ויערה, עוד גביע משומר נשיק נשיק, על איזה עיניים ולבב. טובו, טובו אוהלינו, כי מחול הפציעה. טובו, טובו אוהלינו, עוד נשובה אל ניגונתי. עוד נשובה אל ניגונתי, והזמר ויערה, עוד גביע משומר נשיק נשיק, על איזה עיניים ולבב. טובו, טובו אוהלינו, כי מחול הפציעה. טובו, טובו אוהלינו, עוד נשובה אל ניגונתי. ליבי ביום שבת יבין בחידות,
שעשית את עבדך. קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת שעשית את עבדך. קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת שעשית את עבדך. קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת שעשית את עבדך. כי במקלי עברתי את הירדן, אתה הייתי בשני מחנות, הצילני נא, הצילני נא, הצילני נא. במקלי עברתי את הירדן, אתה הייתי בשני מחנות, הצילני נא, הצילני נא, הצילני נא. שעשית את עבדך. אני קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת שעשית את עבדך. במקלי עברתי הירדן, אתה איתי בשני מחנות, הצילני נא, הצילני נא, הצילני נא.
So lovely. Thank you to the beautiful dancers and to all of you as well, and for your generosity, which helps this congregation continue through this amazingly challenging time. Well, what happened when we asked you about sacred space? What did you think of? And what did you help to create, either on the fly or bringing up a memory that is dear to you? We got messages from a number of you, and I'm very pleased to share those with you now. And you'll see a variety of imaginations here. John Gibbons sent us the full armor of God, which sits on his home desk. From Mark Bailey, Sacred Space. From Ginny Spencer. From Carl Winkler. Wow. Giving us hope that the haunted house will be back. Dorothy Africa. Maria Dancer. Stillness. Sharon McClatchy. Such a beautiful place. Joel Parks. Jen Poole. Rich Suval. Recognizing that comfort and sacredness come from living beings as well. Ben Sears and Brad Connor. Susan Lincoln. Carol and George Apple. When times get challenging, snuggle something warm and purring. Melissa Smith. Andrew Van Prague. Ellen Shiner. Vanessa Lyda. Christine Dudley Marling. Richard Kaiser. Barbara Rocher. And here's my sacred space. Thank you all for sharing those with us. We are so glad to see the places and the beings that take hold of your imagination and may bring you comfort during this time. To close our service, we have words written by Adrienne Marie Brown, who is a creative thinker for sure, someone who understands the power of the imagination. So let us hold on to these words. There is an edge beyond which we cannot grasp the scale of our universe. That border, that outer boundary is imagination. We can imagine so much. We can only imagine so much. If perhaps it is a function of our collective minds, a dream of our endless nights, then there will be abundance so long as we can imagine it. Abundance on earth, if we can imagine it. And to have it all we need is to remember there is an edge and grow our dreams beyond it. So may it be. Let's take our imaginations to a place over the rainbow. Thank you so much